Welcome to rosalux. Really happy to have you here. We are speaking in English tonight. I hope you don't mind. If there is any question, we can try to translate, of course. But Pedro, for example, don't speak German. And this is only one reason. The other reason is that we are very international. And, and we would like to post this in the internet. So we'll start this talk. We had a small introduction before we started this video. I gave the possibility to the artists to explain a little bit about their work, but Pedro didn't explain about your work. So your work is here behind us, and
well, the title of the work is Reclining III, and because in fact it starts with a drawing of branches that is treated on the computer with operations of multiplying and copying and pasting, and so rebuilding a new drawing, and with the situations with symmetry and reorganizing these first traces that were put into the computer to get into a larger drawing. And this drawing that started with a tree that was in this natural position, it was turned down. So I wanted to, it was a way I was developing. It happened during the process in the computer, and somehow got situations that I was interested in that had to do with this something that grow and not growing, and that it stops because it's could be dead, and that's why I pull out this Maria Zambrano text about breathing, and the way you breathe, and the way you inspire and you expire, and so this drawing, the way it was made, cut in pieces, cut in fragments, and letting it loose. If there was some wind here, perhaps this will have this feeling that you have in the woods of the branches that are like breathing also. So I wanted to think about something that was dead and became alive again, in terms of this more transcendent meaning of the work. But anyway, you can see it whatever you like it, and in fact it results, for what I was saying, of a process of repeating a gesture now in the computer, and that it came out like this.
So the technique is the computer. You also work with the computer, and how important is the computer for your research?
I started. I was. I been working a lot with this situation about memory, and how one way of that you develop your memory, and you want to develop your memory because you feel that your memory is fading away, and so you're trying not to lose your memories. And in fact, when you archive things in a computer, you're fixing moments. And so I started some drawings. I started to organize it in folders in my computer to further, in future, to further work with them and to develop their work. So it was a process that started for cataloging, for making archives with forms and potential forms for thinking about other images and other drawings made with this first image that I was getting into the computer, and then I start studying the softwares, so I could manage to work the image and to work into the computer. So sometimes some of my drawings just start with a small trace, and it's only the process of repetition, and repetition is a process also that has to do with fixing the memory. It has been a process that developed the way I was doing with the computer. Of course, then these images that are filed in the computer then can be materialized in different ways. So I've made small videos, drawings on paper, prints, and paintings, and on aluminium or on canvas. So there's a starting point, and then this can be reworked on the different media that after it's used to develop the work.
Thank you. So we're speaking about technology and the use of computer, and I would like to ask Christoph, as a young artist, you just said that your work is made with a traditional way. You're not using industrial glass or digital prints. Do you like computers? You don't use computers for your work?
Hardly not at all, no.
No digital. Is it a digital photography maybe?
No, as I explained, it's...
And the original picture?
Okay, secretly I printed the original image onto a photo film.
Okay.
And then I used the photo film to do this image.
Yeah.
But now I bought an analog camera, so in the future I don't have to print a digital image.
So you're a rebel?
No, I just really think that this sort of technique supports my vision and makes my work stronger and gives it more character.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it just suits me better.
By Uwe, you use digital photography, but it's afterwards overlapped with a wood print. So you're destroying the nice photo.
It's about trees. No? I use a tree to start my work, so I use wood.
It's a traditional, a very nice
wood
technique.
Wood made out of a tree once.
Yes, exactly.
This was the basic idea.
Yes.
Very romantic to think.
But
I want to transform it and to come to a point where it looks to me and said, oh, I love it. I'm really happy to see what looks to me. And before I think, I have to do something to tell you what I want to see by being here. And I'm so curious to walk around, to notice, to make photographs, to collect all the impressions. And I'm so curious what will come out of it, being here and doing something. And this was the basic idea. So
it's very nice that you speak about being romantic. It's a very
because I tell you this piece. This piece is a tree which I found in front of my window, but the other ones are a reproduction from Caspar David Friedrich painting one man and a woman looking romantically into the moon.
So we're speaking about this image that's behind us, but that we can't see on the video, but we will show it.
On the inside.
Yes.
So these two guys, men and a woman, looking not now into the moon, but in the reality of now and here. And if you look there, you see yourself sitting on there in my painting.
Thank you very much for integrating.
And then the other thing is about trees that have a lot to do with what I heard from Pedro, not from the computer, but when he say it's a horizontal tree. In philosophy, they see almost as much branches you have on the one side, you have roots on the other side. So I mirrored the printing, that it looks like one goes up and one goes down, and in the middle that's us. And I was curious, I printed it, and believe me, I just said, wow. and I accepted it, and I need to show this. And this is the reason why I need to show. And though I was so excited to hear from Pedro that history has the same fascination, not the technique of computers, that is the way how you work. And Christoph, when we talk about it, he said, I need to walk, and I said, I see the space in between. And branchings has not only something to do with the branchings of a tree, but also on the relation between us. And so the idea grew from audio. So I said, it's a complex phenomenon of 3 different views, and I was very proud that this succeeded. And that was the reason why we started and come to the point and that look what we discovered.
Yes, but again, I have to say very clearly that it was very nice feeling to. It was very nice collaboration, a very nice work process with you 3, and so we had the idea to work with branchings, and Uwe, you know Pedro since years, and Christoph, you studied with Uwe. So we have here several generations, also like this tree structure, this family tree, an international family tree with artists, so not a family, but in the sense of affinities. And
I was curious who invented the word, because I don't really know if branching is a real word.
Well,
but the meaning we get into it, but I don't know if you get into it because we are foreign to.
I think there's somebody from Australia here. Do you know the word branchings?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it suit to this show? Do you see some branchings here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Branching is not connected to branching off.
Yeah.
The branching off to something. So train my height. Go off in another
But for those who understand German, it was much easier. We start with Verzweigungen, and this was much easier. The fact that Verzweigungen means, when someone tells it must be branchings in English. I'm not sure whether it's
I got the meaning. I didn't know the word.
Do you relate branchings to trees?
Yeah.
Thank you. so
From London, you should know.
Oh, that's good.
No, because we could get this idea of that what Uwe means, that we're a branch of each other and
Connected.
Normally.
no, it's a very yes. It's not the first association that one has. You spoke about romantic and romanticism, and do you feel romantic tonight? Or no, I mean it's a nice evening in Berlin. But in your work, do you work with a computer? Do you, when you sit in front of your computer, do you feel the power of romantic?
I feel I have work too that I want to express. Of course, the questions that go beyond the work. Also, I didn't. If you're questioning if I'm questioning the sublime, I'm not thinking of function that way. I really want that work is a result of a process, but also has, of course, even moments or even signification. But and for me, I want to. In the process, I discover myself working, and that's a process that goes further. The concept of making a tree in a certain way. So, but I don't know if I'm looking for this 19th century categorizations of discussing the supreme tension of an image through this
Mm.
the deep romantic feeling.
Do you think Christoph is romantic in his work?
No.
Maybe.
I wouldn't go this way. I was explaining. I was discussing with Christoph the work,
Yes.
and I enjoyed very much. Not because of the light, the red light. For me, it's a path. He writes truth in it, but I think for me it's a kind of a path someone made through these woods, these trees, and.
But that's why it's truth, because I really made my way through the woods.
Yeah. Okay.
If I would have photoshopped it, I would.
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
a path.
Okay.
I agree.
It's
It's
a path.
metaphor.
Yeah, that and I enjoy it because as an objectual feeling, because the glass it's not it's a handmade glass. The image is not digital, so it's not this.
No.
As not this. There's a tension here between the precise, the coolness, let's say, of the computer language, and so. What I could be in the romanticism mood is that I challenge a cool image or that's with a mechanic process, and I put that image in a certain tension, and that contradicts it's the way that is done. So within a process, there's within this image a process it's a very cold process,
Yes.
because as a procedure, a mechanical procedure.
Yeah.
But I think the way then how it is displayed, the way the sheets of paper are moving, so it contradicts all the process, and so I like that dealing with those contradictions.
Yes. That's, what I wanted to say about our cooperation was the first talk that I had with you. I spoke about trees, about branchings, and also about the space delimited by the branches, the in-between spaces. And this was very clear to all the artists, and I was thinking, wow, wonderful. The space between two branches of a tree could be the subject of a show. And I was, it's really, really pleased that it's so clear for you, as I hope also for the public, that it means that you look to the tree in a somehow similar way, or the inspiration of the tree is there in the three of you. No? Otherwise, nobody would understand what do you mean with the space. It's not something that I'm really interested in, or something.
You could ask Christoph, why does he want to go over the trees? Why does he want to walk on the trees? Or
yes,
how
yes.
is this notion of suspension, not suspension, flying over, but it's not being flying because you're connected with the tree.
Yes,
so
maybe we have to explain. Maybe we have to explain that that you would like to walk on the finest branches of a tree.
Yeah. So this work is a sort of outcome of my process, and eventually I want to make it possible to walk over the forest. So in this image I just only made it possible to get to the edge of the treetop, but eventually I want to walk over the treetop. And this of course borders to flying, and is quite impossible. Nevertheless, I'm trying it, and I will probably make it possible this summer, because I have a very good idea, which is my secret. And yeah, that's what they were referring to, because they of course know, but most of you don't know. And
you have to say it's a movie, maybe. If it's you working on.
Yeah, so the end result will be a film, analog 16mm film with a film projector. Anyway,
but you feel like you're like being kind of an Icarus. You're going over, and your wings will get into the.
Quite honestly,
if you go down or you go up after that. Will you go to the sun or you go
between the branches?
Quite honestly, it was a daydream, a really intense daydream. that I looked out of the window and I saw only the tips of the branches of the alley behind my house. So there was an alley with branches, and I imagined myself walking over that. And it was a really intense daydream because I started sweating. I was afraid of falling down, and I really felt that once I would sort of tumble like a sleepwalker over it and then again fall and then crawl and then fight myself out again and then walk again. And this daydream sort of inspired other thoughts, and for me this very last ends of the branches is the borderline between earth and sky. And if you think about the borderline, for example, also the twilight is a border between day and night. And if you have this moment of realizing two different worlds, night and day, earth and sky, or earth and moon, I don't know, this is really possible to transfer to a lot of different contexts. Then it's possible to, for a moment, be in both worlds. So, but if you're in a different world, even if you're only half there, then you suddenly zoom out of this world, so out of our reality, out of daily life, out of all of the conditions. So suddenly things which you thought you know what they are, they become, maybe to say it simple, they become like something which you see for the first time. So things you see like a house, like the sky, like a tree, you suddenly see it for the first time again. And this is extremely refreshing. And
yes,
but it's in you as a walker on the street.
I think if a person sees such a strange image,
how is the visible image, at least, is it a film?
Yeah, so
about someone who is walking and try to reach a point.
Yeah, so the main part of the film, 90%, we will only see it filmed from above, the forest and the person walking over it. And I think such a strange image can make it possible that people will have a similar experience like I had. And it doesn't need to be necessarily literally like I had it, but I think it will sharpen the senses of the people in order to be more aware of the strange things which go on in everyday life. So that's actually...
Yeah, it's maybe difficult to understand because we need the movie.
No,
but,
I mean the visible argument is up to you to make something out of it. And your wishings and dreams could be a part of what happens to you and what you hope that people will
embrace. Of course.
Because, but you offer a visible sign, it's a film or it's a thing.
And I do many choices in order...
you have all the time the choices. Yeah. But you offer something where you hope and where you give the material as a concrete piece.
Yes.
And this is loaded with all your expectations. But this loaded expectations object is a fact, and the fact is a piece.
Yeah.
And then you can look how this piece carries everything what you expected.
Yeah, of course.
This is the quality of the piece.
Yes,
so
I agree.
First thing you should just surprise us with a piece where we have to work on it.
Uwe, I would like to ask you one thing about your text, because you three have written very nice texts about your work, for this exhibition, and your text has a title in German, which is Ich glaube, ich stehe im Wald. Yeah. And I know that the forest is very important for German. In Germany, the forest is very important. I would like to ask you about this importance of the forest.
I was hoping that you don't translate it in English because it means something totally different in the mentality for a translated person who hears something.
So what does this,
I
this
mean,
expression...
only people who know, if you don't understand anything, you'll be surprised, or you think, I'm getting crazy, so ich glaube, ich bin im Wald, or ich stehe im Wald. And you say this, and you say, my God,
Which will be,
I cannot explain serious
yes.
things, and
literally,
I'm irritated, and yes. In a positive way, I quit, and I said, look, but phew, this overcomes me. And if I now have to translate it in English, I make it some serious thought to think, what could it mean? And
okay.
This happens.
But the forest is a magical place.
Yeah, that's what I from the Greeks.
So you're bringing some magic.
And it's a philosophical phenomenon that I write about the trees, that they have branches going to the sky and the roots going to the ground.
Yes.
That's why I installed the tree to the sky and reaching the ground. Yes. That's it. That's the only reason to go from the top to the floor.
Yes, yes.
And in between, it's our being now. Though all the scenes are having something to do with here and now and all around. And it's nothing more. So, and by seeing this, I stopped when I was surprised about the beautiness to me and the surprising. And at least I had no serious explanations anymore. I said, ich glaube, ich stehe im Wald. So it's and I was happy. Instead of saying, people, I want to tell you something important about art of things. So I only can share with you what I expired, and I was happy. And so, if you don't like it, it's not my problem. I think I made a very serious statement by this.
Yes, yes.
And then I can say, okay, and it makes me happy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
It's the truth of the artist. It's the truth of the artist.
No, sitting with a parasol under the roof and is poor and complains and has problems. And,
you were speaking also one of the you spoke about the idea of fragments,
yeah.
And we have in your work continuity and at the same time a discontinuity.
Yeah, I believe this, and I've used a lot this situation of confronting fragments or that I put together. So I think that an image, for me, perhaps for other people it's not like that, but there's a situation that is common to several people, and it happens a lot to me, that when I see an image or I see something, I see from details instead of seeing the whole scene. I see details of the scene, of the image, and confronting these details has been an issue in my work. So, or putting two different images together, this sometimes I have worked at this abstract painting, but it's panels that are painted in different ways, and they put side by side. So this confrontation and including the space that is between, that counts also. For me, it's one of the situations I care about in some of my work. And so here there's a continuity, and this continuity is cut by the moment there's two sheets of paper side by side separated by 1 centimeter. And so this void, this absence of image that your perception will try to avoid connecting the lines and avoiding this void, but anyway you get conscious of there's a gap, there's a moment where there's no image. And for me, that's important for building up an image, rebuilding this image in your imagination. So for me, the idea of fragment, the idea of construction totality through fragments, and you see lots of there's parallel in lots of situations. The way a building is constructed, the theory, or even the theory of spatial architecture, has to do with assembling parts and putting parts together, and sometimes putting together something that or relate. In this case, they relate, or sometimes they don't relate, and trying to get global vision through each element that builds up this totality. So for me, to fragment an image is not this practical thing of sending it, because it's very easy. I just make a pack, and of course I can send it by mail. That was we did it. We did it for. I sent it to Domingos by transport, by mail, and but apart that practical situation, it's also is in fact the power of grid that sometimes is regular, that sometimes is irregular, and the grid defines spaces, and the spaces include voids, include emptiness. And so for me, you get many times you are aware of something that you see because of the parts that you don't see that are really there or that are hidden. So for me, discovering an image, developing a perception is a process that has to take care of all these elements, and it's more effective instead of making a general synthetic information about an image.
Which, if I understood well,
you mean that if you do a big print of this image, the effect is completely different, as if you make this fragmentation, and this effect here we have the feeling maybe of the wind, of the breath that you're speaking about. The feeling of a tree is a completely different. It would be another image, another meaning, completely different.
Yeah, okay. I also make images that
are very big.
They don't have. I don't. I use fragmentation a lot, but I could do image without fragmentation, of course, and it would be something else. I think I make emphasis here about this type of work that I'm developing.
I must say I'm very impressed by this very simplicity of the technique and the strength of the effect.
Yeah,
it's very effective. Okay. In your case, Uwe, you also did some assembling of prints. Did you try this before, or it was like a work in progress? This is something different as one, or when you're putting this together, there is like something happening, something new.
It's always the same woodcut, always the same. There is a very simple one schablon is printed on different basic montages.
But for me, I was seeing today. I'm sorry, just before I forgot. I forget. No, I was seeing today a work from Uwe that he is developing for several years, that had to do with this assembling postcards from different towns.
Very nice work.
And what he really, you can explain better than me, but I can just make a synthetic information about it. So he takes the same image and then he manipulates it in terms of how it rotates and how it composes. So it builds up another image through elements, and it's always the same.
Yes.
And that's I find it very strange of the image that he shows. So he shows image that really, in fact, is tourist postcards, but it's incredible how some tourist postcards, and that you have already noticed that
analog.
They are.
It's not digital.
They frame reality in a very strange way.
Yes.
And so Uwe emphasize this framing of reality, recomposing and creating a new image through the connection between the different images.
Exactly.
And so I think that's why you make also this inversion and symmetry of some of the...
It looks complicated, but it's just one print on not a white sheet on equal paper, but on a colored underground. So it looks so different, complicated, but the underground is a montage of photography, drawings, and I combine it, and then I reprint it on a litho paper that I can make a woodcut underneath. So and I worked on this underground till the effect of the colors has something to do with the color of the print. So it's not good photographs. A good photograph would not do this combination. There would be, oh, I recognize a good photograph. But I really destroyed the quality of a good photograph to create my colors or my expectations underneath.
This is also interesting. You're not interested in perfect photography or in perfect technique.
Use it just as
not.
Sometimes I use it with a drawing. Or
so you're improving the technique, improving the.
Yeah, it has more to do with the authentic of the moment to register. I am here now, and this is around me, and I have something to keep the moment. And sometimes it's a photograph, sometimes it's a sign, sometimes it's and I collect. This diary of being here.
Christoph, we are speaking about techniques, and we have just heard how simple this work was realized. I mean, it's a computer print. It's a very serious research. The materialization is very simple. Then you have Uwe saying it's very easy. It's not so complicated. And you have you like complicated techniques, no?
I wouldn't say I like it.
Could you explain a little bit why? Because you had some technical problems, I've heard, also.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I like it, but it just happens that way, and I cannot really.
It's like climbing trees, maybe, like experimental.
It's very simple. I have an idea, and I, for example, realize that hand-blown glass would suit my idea, and then I just think I have to use that to make my work stronger. And if I wouldn't use it, I would make a compromise. I would run away from it.
And what is your feeling about this show? See your work, combining with the other artists here in this room. Now it's difficult. There is a public and the camera, but when it's empty, and what is your feeling about this show?
No, I'm happy about it. I think it's a good show. I really like to be together with two other artists, where I know that they're hardcore, where I know that they are very honest with their work, and so I like that. I wouldn't like it to be, so this is it's different from being in a big group show where you exhibit with 20 other artists and you totally don't really know next to whom you're hanging, and I think this is quite a strong statement, and I like that, and
thank you. Uwe, your statement about this show? Do you also think it's good?
I think it's
inspiring to you?
No, I think it's professional.
Yes?
Yeah, it makes no concession on look what I have, but we, thanks to you, and thanks to the space we really were thinking about to offer an installation and not to filling the walls with what we all have. So I think in this way it keeps the seriosity and the quality of making installation which has a respect from every different piece to each other without occupying something that this is not dominating and this is not occupying this, and so we work together on it, not with you, but you trust us that we make it good, and so we had a discussion about to make it how it is, and for my part, I think I'm very satisfied with the space.
What I was going to say is that the space is not very large.
No.
And we managed to each work as its place, and it's each work as its autonomy. And although there's this concept that goes of that has to do with all the works, treating a kind of very subject very universal, very with completely with many possibilities. There's no situation that you can come here and say, oh, I can see that work because of something that is there. I think it's well displayed, and that's one important thing too, because sometimes you have works, then the works don't fit together, and you have to find the right place. So as I told you before, each place is a place. So each place
is a place, exactly.
Besides the existence of a work, the work exists because it relates with a space and relates with other work.
Yeah.
Because this was the question. My question was how it is to work in a project space.
We are here in a non-market-oriented place.
It's not a gallery, it's not a museum, it's not an art center, but it's a project space. There is 150 project spaces in Berlin, and I asked Pedro how it is to work here, and he said each place is a place, and you work with this philosophy. Yes. Yeah. And also ask, I don't remember, I think it was Uwe, asked how is it to work with young artists and with students, with former students, and you told me, do you remember your answer?
No, I would say it has nothing to do with young and older. I work with another artist who has something to do. I work with the artwork of someone, and not how old you are and how young I am.
Yes. So each artist is an artist and has his way and has to do his work.
It has to do with the fact that we make something together.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. It was a real pleasure. I mean, yes, I would exactly open the discussion. Is there any question or inspiration from the public? You're invited. You have the chance. I mean, Pedro came from Lisbon, is flying back tomorrow. It just came for tonight. Maybe the Berlin public has some questions. And Uwe is also, you're living also a bit in Berlin, a bit in Berlin and Holland. If not, no question. Yes, one question. Okay, please.
Since this exhibition is based around trees and branches, the fact that there are two artists that have clearly worked on paper and one not, how conscious were the two that worked on paper, conscious of the fact that it's trees on paper, its actual product, or was it just an accident, or just naturally on that?
So we have the two artists. Who wants to start?
I didn't
understand
well the question, because of the paper is
How
made.
How conscious was the decision that you made to work on paper as opposed to glass, for example?
No, I really didn't. I think that's one of the virtues of the exhibition, is that each one developed the work on its own. There was no purpose to relate to the other. There's a theme, there's a reference, but there's no way it could be done. We could have collaborated.
Yes.
We'd be working for a time together or for some time together. And I made an exhibition several years ago with a Spanish artist that we met every 2 months in Lisbon and in Seville. And each time we criticize each other's work, and there was a reference team for working, and then we developed the work, and there was some real change in the personal work of each other because of the influence of the other. But this is not the case here. I could have brought aluminum plates or ceramic plates or bricks with a drawing. I don't know. I could have made a branch in a very awkward material. Perhaps I could have done it, but it doesn't happen. Perhaps next time.
Perhaps next time.
No, it's not a comment.
Okay.
But I can answer for my part. It's adequate medium, and it's no other way to put it on something else than on paper. It comes from wood, it goes back to the wood on the paper, and every other thing would be an artificial dimension to be out on the effect of the material underneath, but it has to go very close from the wood to the paper, and to be honest in what I want to discover. So I had never an idea to do it on something else or than on paper. That's why.
No other questions? Thank you for being here, and we will close the discussion.
Thank you.